Thank you very much, sir. You can. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. I think you have reduced my, intro. So all the introduction has given by Deepika, ma'am. So straight away we can go for the session. So agenda of this session, we just, we introduction about the SQL related things and DBMS and RDBMS. Suppose that the MySQL concept and few query samples and any Q&A related things. This is the agenda of this session. So we can start with, DBMS. So first of all, as you know about the basic concept, I hope that still we can just, start with the base. So database management system is a part of like a kind of software or application that really used for to managing the databases, right? So before that, we can just discuss about the database. So generally, database is nothing but collection of data. Data in a sense, nothing but information, collective of information. And that information or data can be interrelated, which is used to retrieve or update, insert, delete. Those options we can just do it actually. So, for example, widely we are working in our office environment. In our organization, we are having our own database called something like, if I'm working with my company and my company having department of IT, department of sales, department of operations, and department of HR, everything. So all the records collectively called maintaining in the database management. So, for very most example for a database management system is, used to manage the databases like example, MySQL, Oracle, or SQL Server, Microsoft SQL Server, IBM DB2, whatever the database management system. So mainly, this DBMS allows the major task of we can define the data. Okay, so we can define in a sense like creation, modification, and removal of the definition. We can be define the data definition, right? So the second major, we can update the data. Whatever the data we are just creating or we are just inserting, that data we can anywhere, anytime we can just update for our convenient or else our requirement. So the third thing is retrieval. We are storing, we are updating, but what is the end result? We have to retrieve the data. So that is called these three major tasks we can do it from the database management system. This is the start actually. Previously, we are using in the database. So later, it's convert as the advanced version of the database management system is called relational database management system. So in the database management system is unstructured one. So later the advanced version, we can relate the database management system. We can enable the relational model between the tables in the databases. So for example, how can we relate in a sense like table A, table B is there now, then we can have any one key relationship between in the two tables. Sorry. So in the basically in the relational database, there is a key maintaining inside the unique ID. The key concept and all in the coming slide, we can just elaborately we can discuss. So according to the relational database, there is a key that records a unique ID for that relation. Okay. So current modern all the database management system are based on the RDBMS concept only. Like if we take Oracle, this is the RDBMS database. MySQL, this is the RDBMS concept. MS SQL, whatever it may be, all the latest modern databases just based on the RDBMS. So there are some important parameters of the relational database is there. Like it is based on a relational model. Already we just discussed in Abstain. each row in the table with a unique ID, and column of the table hold the attribute of the data. So whatever the data, what is the attribute of the data, it is hold in the column, right? So, and then the major thing difference of relational database table, the relationship we can, one-to-one relationship, one table, if there is a two table, only one key relationship between the tables, and one to many, many to one. One to many in a sense, table A having a one relation and table B having a many relation. Vice versa, the many to one relation and many to many. Both the tables are having a many relationship. So all kind of relations, how we can map, how we can relate the table to table and all. Just we, in the SQL concept, we are just coming slide. We are discuss. So there are DBMS versus RDBMS, like some differences is there. Like in the DBMS application, store data as a file. So previously we are storing the data as a file. All the data, all the records to be in a file as a file. For example, XML or file system, whatever it may be. But now current RDBMS application store the data in the tabular form. That's why in the example I have said like a table A and table B. So tabular form we are just following in the RDBMS. And in the DBMS hierarchical form or navigational form they are using, but we are just using a primary key, foreign key relationship basically. And in DBMS, there is not much any security concept like SSL or TLS. It is not applicable. But in RDBMS defines the integrity constraints, like a lot of constraints we can apply for a security manner. So DBMS does not support the distributed system, but in later RDBMS support the distributed system, everything. The major one is the DBMS is for a smaller organization deal with the small data, because since it is storing the data as in a file or file system, so we can just a smaller organization only can deal with small data. But RDBMS, the larger amount of data, we can store it, we can just retrieve it, whatever. It's also support the multiple user. See, at a time, 100 user can use, 1,000 users can use, etc. It is depends upon the database size. And then now SQL. How first of all, SQL is structured query language. It is kind of language for query in a structured manner. In the reverse we can say like that. It's a standard language for dealing with relational database. So in the previous slide we have discussed about the RD database management. So here SQL is how the how it is dealing with the RDBMS is called SQL actually. So it's used to perform the data interacting with such as we can create the table or insert the table into it, and querying, obviously filtering the data, modifying all those things we can do it in the RDBMS via SQL. So simply we can, pronounce it as SQL or SQL, whatever it may be. That is nothing about it. Some people are saying that SQL, some people are saying SQL, whatever it may be. That is not a problem. And in the plain term, how we can, in raw term, we can just RDBMS is a kind of book, and the language and the SQL is the language being used in the book. That's it. So book, whatever the language you are using, that is called SQL actually. So we should, we want to read or write, that is and all our wish actually. We can use SQL. So the base of SQL command we are using that SQL commands are instruction, nothing but it is instruction. and it is really used to communicate with the database. That's it. So communicate with the database to perform some task like functions or tasks or queries like select, insert, update, whatever it may be. So there are 5 types of SQL command available, and DDL, DML, DCL, TCL, and DQL. So DDL is nothing but data definition language. We can define the language of the SQL command. Like DDL is nothing but we can create whatever the create database, create table. This is and all comes under the DDL SQL command. Drop, alter, and truncate. So second one is manipulation language, data manipulation language. So basically, whatever the data we are defined, that after the definition, we can manipulate it, like create the table in a sense, next insert the data into the table and update after the insertion, update. After the update, if we want, delete the record itself. So these process, these commands are belongs to DML. Next one is data control language. So here we can control the user management via grant or revoke permissions. So we can control it the user management level. And the fourth one, transaction control language. So TCL. So one transaction is inserted, then after that we can commit that transaction, so that only it is storing into the table. Suppose if we transaction is going, then if we want to just roll back the transaction, then we can cut off that transaction and roll back to some other activity. Save point in a sense, nothing but the transaction at the while we can save that point, and then we can use it in a later. So and then finally, data query language. So this is called nothing but we can passing the query like select or insert or update. We can just query language like CRUD operations, like we can create tables, or we can create a database. This is and all the query language actually, DQL. And the next, CRUD operation in SQL. So basically the CRUD operation is a fundamental of any computer programming language or technology. Like for example, if we take Java, there is a CRUD operation. If we take PHP, there is a CRUD operation. If we take .NET, whatever it may be. Likewise, if we take SQL, there also CRUD operation will be performing. So before taking deeper dive into any program language, we must know about this CRUD operation. So CRUD is nothing but C represent create. Create in a sense, here we can create the table and insert the data into the table. So the second one is or means read. Read in a sense, in a query language, select from the table. So you means update and update the table set, whatever the data we have inserted, those inserted data we can update it. And D means delete, whatever the inserted data we can delete it from the table. So this is called the base. Wherever whatever we are going to do in the SQL without CRUD operation, there is nothing else. So we should know about the CRUD operation, because in a data level, as much as any combination, we have to create the data, we have to select the data, update the data, delete the data. This is what, nothing else. So we have to understand this concept actually, CRUD operations. So a list of RDBMS database application here mentioned actually. So previously I said, like most of all the modern database applications are based on the relational database management system only. So such a way here, I'm just giving a sample only. More than that, the database RDBMS database application available. Here mainly it is, I just, bold here, MySQL, Microsoft SQL, SQL Azure Cloud Services, and Oracle, PostgreSQL. This and all mainly used, most of the companies are frequently used this database applications, right? So the next top 10 RDBMS database application widely used in most of the companies, like in the world. If you take in the world, most of the companies are using Oracle application, and the second most is MySQL. Third most is SQL Server, Postgres Server, and IBM DB2, Microsoft Access, SQLite, MariaDB. So these are all the 10 top RDBMS database application, and we are going to select today MySQL actually. So and then whatever we are saying about the SQL and based on the RDBMS concept, nowadays the NoSQL is a little bit is not little bit, it is booming up for nowadays. NoSQL is nothing but non-SQL, or not only SQL. It is type of database that use non-relational data structure. Actually, we have discussed the RDBMS is the structured one, tabular form. But this is like non-relational. There is no relationship between the data structure. All based on controlling via the database object wise they are doing, such as document or graphical database and key value. So kind of things we can just achieve it in NoSQL. So NoSQL are designed to more flexible than traditional databases and can scale up or down easily to accommodate the changes. See here, the differences between the SQL and NoSQL is this is relational database management. This is non-relational database management, and data is mainly here stored in a tabular form with column and rows. Already we discussed, and there is no table concept and column concept here. So here only the data is stored in a collections or document, right? So here JSON and complex query we can handle it here. JSON type. JSON is like a kind of data type. Just leave it this point actually, because for initial it is very big topic actually. JSON data type actually. And normalized data structure here, denormalized data structure. For example, MySQL, Postgres, and all here structured query language. And here MongoDB and Amazon DynamoDB, so kind of things. So, anyways, today we are just we are discussing about the RDBMS concept. So we don't want to go deeper, because the NoSQL is a very big concept actually. So today's in this section we are just discussing about. And then today we just whatever the top 10 RDBMS database application available, we are just taking an example of MySQL. So why we are using MySQL is MySQL is a widely used relational. Most of the companies are using MySQL in the RDBMS application. Why? Because MySQL is a free and open source, so easily we can handle it. And it is for both small and large application we can handle with this MySQL database. And in the meantime, it is very fast, reliable, scalable, easy to use. Everything it is. Also, it is a cross platform. Like it is supported only Windows. It is supported only Linux. No kind of. It is working in Windows as well as Linux, as well as Unix and Mac. Everything it is working on it, right? So major point is like MySQL is developed and distributed. Till now, they supported by the Oracle Corporation only. They are taking care about the MySQL, right? So in the worldwide around, who are all users the MySQL in a sense? Like we are daily basis. We are just using the Facebook. Very well about the Facebook application, and in the world, most of the peoples are using the Facebook, Twitter, and GitHub, Uber, YouTube, whatever, etc. The most of the companies mentioned here are using MySQL only, MySQL database only, and WordPress. So a lot of company. I'm here giving only the examples companies only, the biggest one company only. I'm giving the example of, and so first of all, sorry for this slide. Actually, this is very uncomfortable to read. But anyways, nothing else in nothing much. Only mentioned here feature only. Apologies for this slide actually. So my lot of features available in this MySQL. That's why worldwide it is a very big popular databases. So first of all, easy to use. We can use it in. I just practically I'll show you. Very easy. Even the schooling student, they can just handle the database MySQL databases. So such kind of easy one, and as well as it is very secure. Secure in a sense, we can connect with very SSL with the certificate of SSL, TCL. The most of the secure term we can use it in this database actually. Also, we can architect as like client server model. We can build the client server model. One server database we can build, and multi-client can connect at a time, like 10 clients or 20 clients. We can such a model we can do it in this MySQL. So it is, of course, it is open source, so free to download, as well as very scalable. This is so speed wise, this is considered one of the very fastest database in the language, actually, database language, a flexi one, and rollback it is giving some transaction to be rolled back, commit or crash or recovery, and memory efficient. This is very for big database and all, this is the one of the most problem we are facing in the memory efficiency. So all the queries are running and just buffering in the query output in the memory only. If the memory, if it is leak anything, then definitely the query will be getting slow. So likewise here, more efficient, high, because it is very low memory leakage problem. So basically in the build itself, they are fixing all the memory kind of issues. And high performance, that is what we want. MySQL is fast and more reliable and cheaper because of unique storage engine architecture. So platform independent, it is like any kind of platform it is running, whatever the Windows flavor or Linux flavor or Unix flavor, whatever the flavor, the platform will be. Also, it is a graphical user interface support it is providing actually. Like by default, MySQL Workbench is the GUI support. Workbench is like developed by MySQL and Oracle. So both are the same companies, right? So this is the version. Oh, just for knowledge only, I'm sharing this actually. So obviously, each version having each features actually. So if it is take 5.1, then there will be some features. So that there will be also some bug. So that bug and all fixed in the next versions. So this is how they are maintaining, and the current version is like 8.0, and till we can get the support of April 2026, right? So far we are discussing about the databases. So whatever the database, the end result is, we are going to deploy in a server environment. We are going to install a database in a server. Such a way, what are all the server environments we are following? It's completely depends upon the company requirement. But still, as per most of the companies are following these kind of environment, like development environment, testing environment, staging environment, production environment. So development environment is nothing but a development server. That server we are going to install the database. So basically the development environment is nothing but application is where developed. That's it. So this is mostly the programmer owns, like developer in a sense, like SQL developer, programmer, their own machines. They can do anything in that machine. So full control of this environment and can install a tool related to them, right? Second thing is, once the development has completed, that completed code deploy into the next stage, testing environment. Application is deployed to be tested by the QA or testers, whatever. So to validate before it goes live. So tester only can validate everything in their environment, right? So third one is staging environment. Staging environment is nothing but a pre-production. We just simply call it as a pre-production environment of the production environment, right? It should be have same configuration database or caching system, whatever. That's why it is called the pre-production. So production server, whatever the configuration we are maintaining, the same configuration we are maintaining in the pre-production environment, right? And then finally, production environment where application is finally deployed and made available to the user, of course. So usually, we are more focusing about the monitoring to this production environment because very critical to the business. The production environment is very critical to the business. So that's why some sort of, as all you are internal auditor, about the BCP, business continuity plan and all. So that is the reason, if a production man goes down, then immediately what about the business continue in a such a wonderful manner. So for that is separate topic actually. BCP, I think you know well about the BCP concept and all. 1 minute. So okay, fine. Deepika, ma'am, like we can go ahead and last session as a QA, question and answer, or in between we can just finish it.
Yeah, you can answer, sir. If it's a small question, you can do it now.
Okay. Kindly cover data migration audit.
Satish Gupta, sir, I think your questions are very relevant, but currently we are just starting the database and SQL scripting. So correct. We will come to that and address your questions at the last. Anything in relation to the areas which we are covering now, I think small questions you can answer during
Amit has asked, like, quality environment, it is testing environment or staging environment? Quality environment, basically the testing environment only. Yeah, but this is based on completely differs between the each companies actually. We in my company, to be frank, in my company we are having a testing environment is separate and the pre-production server is separate. So it depends upon the companies. And then yeah, Amit, this is completely depends upon the company requirement. Actually, some companies are having, this is not a standard one. So this is most widely using, most of the companies are using that manner, like development environment and testing, staging, pre-production. In my company, there is no demo service, demo environment. So in between the production and pre-production, there will be a demo servers are available. But in my company, there is no demo server. It's completely cost dependent company requirement. So that is not an issue.
Yeah, we can say like minimum development, testing and production. That is the base 3 category. Yeah. In between, you may have additional also depending on the development environment, what type of development.
Correct. Yes. So difference between Oracle database, actually I have a difference for multiple MySQL to multiple databases, but still it is going. I have removed that slide due to time taken. I'll address you in the last session, I will just show you the difference. What are all the difference between MySQL and Oracle and MS SQL, Postgres, whatever it may be. I'll just address you. I have the slide actually. Okay, kindly put some light on DR drill for the server which in cloud. Yeah, I will just address it in last, because if we go to that area now, then obviously this the primary concept will be just getting delay. That is the reason. I'll just address you, or else end of the session we can just discussing.
Yes, sir. I think you can continue.
Fine. I'll just, whatever the question you just ask me in the end of the session, so that I'll address it. All right. So here, whatever the database we are saying, the relational database we are saying, so but practically how the data is showing on the website, like whatever, like if we take IRCTC example, if we are just as a user, we are logged in, there will be a front end, and we are just giving our credential, user ID and password. The password will be authenticated with some area, and then just allow us to inside the IRCTC portal, right? Here, we can say that to build the website that show data from the database, we should need one front end actually, right? In the front end, the design pages and all, design and CSS and style page, they are representing. The second thing is backend. In the backend, we can split it as two part. One is the application server, which means web server. Web server is the application is running on the server, like for example, Apache Tomcat and some other web applications, right? So like server-side scripting language like PHP, Java, which is running under the Apache Tomcat. Okay, that web server really coordinate with database program, relational database program. The command we are passing from the web server, and thus based on that command, database will answer for that query and just send back to the web server. Web server again will send back to the front end. So this is how the data is populated in the website, basically, right? So for that, we have to achieve the data retrieval from the front end, and we have to use the SQL to get the data as we want the designed as well, right? So MySQL graphical user interface. So what is graphical user interface in a sense? Like by default, MySQL is giving one a result query panel actually. In that panel, it is not structurized one. It is like, I'll show you. So basically the GUI, graphical user interface, is easy to manage MySQL database as visually, right? So we can, so that it is makes a process of designing. We can design from that graphical user interface, create and administering database easier and more convenient, right? By default, Workbench, MySQL Workbench is the by default application of MySQL. It is supported and developed by the Oracle in the company behind the MySQL itself, right? This is nothing but a tool actually, designed the tool. That's it. And then second one is PHP MyAdmin. So this is also another widely popular web-based MySQL administration tool, which is written in the PHP code itself, language itself, right? So third one is the SQL YOG. So this is very easier to manage the query related thing. Mainly specifically, this SQL YOG management solution for Windows flavor available in the 3 paid edition, like a standard edition. Free edition also is there, right? I'll show you in the practical things like so this is the actually Workbench. Okay, the default application for MySQL. and which is built by the Oracle, right? So we can just MySQL connection via the authentication. That's why I'm saying that more secure actually. If I just connect the database, then it will ask the password. If we put the password, then it will, once I just click OK, it will match from the database, the information schema, whatever the passwords are storing in the table. From there, it is matching. If it is both are matching, it will allow us to inside the database management actually. So this is how. Before that, I'll do one thing. MySQL command line. So before Workbench, yeah. So before that, this is the command line tool. So it is like this is also the process wise, conceptual wise. All the tool guy, graphical user interface, and command line are doing the same only. Only the difference is like only the difference is like visual, our visual graphical visualization. Only the difference. So here too, if I put the password, then same process only. So it is gets connected. Suppose if I put a wrong password, then it won't connect up to we provide the right password, right? So here the small thing I'll show you. Each and every step we need to provide the command for all the activities. Like show database, in a sense, we have to put this command. And if we use some a database, before that we have to use this is the command. So now we can show tables, kind of each and everything. The only problem is like here, like select. See, this is also some structured one. I'll put to know the customers. See, this is the difference actually. The data, all the data is showing, but it is not showing in the structured manner. But here now we can just we nothing to do no show the command will be available here too. Show databases, in a sense, like command wherever it is showing the same result in a structured thing. We can just modify this tabular form or result as a grid type or whatever it may be. More future and visual, only visual thing is the different actually. So here likewise, if we see the structured manner, we can see it in here. Like So this is what the different actually command line mode and whatever the query we can run from here as well as here. But most of the developers and admins are using only this kind of tools because the structured data. One more tool is called as like finally second thing is like PHP MyAdmin. So that is also it's web-based tool actually. So this is also a kind of web-based tool. This is the same thing only here. So these are and all database names. So this is the database names. So whatever the data we have, it's just in the web-based. For that we have to allocate IP address or domain name something completely web-based. But all the operations and everything should be same. Whatever we are doing it in the client or workbench and SQL, yeah, we can do it in the PHP MyAdmin, right? So finally, SQL YOG management solution. Actually, this is also Windows-based client tool, right? So I'll see here the connections we have, and we can use SSH or we can use SSL kind of secure socket layer we can use, or else we can just use the SQL mode to connect. So more securities. Port number we can select. The default port number is 3306, but still we can change the port number to secure manner. So we have to provide the password. The password is again it is compare with the database. If it is passed, then so we can 1 minute. Just it won't connect because still I have connected my company database. It won't connect actually. Just a minute. Localhost. Okay, fine. So if it is everything okay, the connection has successfully connected with my database server. And then here also the same kind of thing. So we no need to provide show databases or no need to provide use databases. If we single click, we can just automatically in the background use database command will be applied, and here we can select provide the commands. We can select star from customers. See, IntelliSense and all automatically see whatever the table name is. This is the advantage of this GUI methodology. Customers. So this is the structured manner we can get it, and we can filter directly. So instead of query, we can directly just filter whatever the customer name is equal to only one row. So here too, we can just filter the basic filter like condition based filter. We can just do it. This and all the very small but crispy features of the MySQL. So we can go with this tool today. Into the database operations, like database is mainly used to store the collections of record, as we discussed already, and it allows us to hold the data into table, rows, column, and index, whatever it may be, right? So likewise, generally it's allowed to do the database operation mainly in two ways, like command line mode and any graphical user interface mode, right? So create database is a kind of operation, and select database, show database, drop database. These are all the basic operation of the database, right? MySQL database. So second thing is like a create database is very small structured query languages create database and provide the database name, right? So I'll do it here. I'll just uh, so here show databases. So there will be a 6 databases available, and now I'm going to create database test DB, right? Now if we put database test database, the same thing here to reflected test DB. So this is how the operation is working. Very small command only. Easy to understand actually. The same thing, we can show the database and use database name. Whatever the database we want to use, we can just use the is a keyword and provide the database name, existing database name. Right. So these kind of small operations are available in this MySQL, and the next MySQL table level operations. So that will be a lot of table level operation is there. From these operation we can use for our real time scenario. Like for example, create table. We can newly create the table. So this is the keyword actually, create table, and alter the table is nothing but modify. Once we just create the table, then we can just modify one. We can later we can according to our requirement we can just modify the tables, right? So show tables in a sense, nothing but what are all the table existingly it is created. So once after the creation of the table, renaming, we can just rename the table, and then truncating the table. A truncate table is nothing but the table structure remain. It will delete all the records from the table. This is called a truncate table. Describe table in a sense, like after the creation of the table, we can describe what are all the, we can just get the details about the table. So we can also drop the table, we can copy the table, delete or add and delete the column, show columns, whatever we can just do it in the table level operation. The next one is like for these operation, like a create table operation, there will be mainly 3 things required. That name of the table is mandatory, and name of the field is mandatory, and the definition of each field is mandatory. Syntax is create table and table name, and table definite column definition 1 and 2 and etc. How many columns we can just accordingly the requirement we can create the columns. For example, this is the sample actually create. Likewise, we are going to create one table in the test DB. See, the use of GUI is, this is the different actually. Simply we can create, right click and create the table name like EMP, and column name like serial number. Data type we will discuss in the coming slide. So data type is, I'll just come because a separate slide is there. So database data type I'll just let know the update. As also the key concept like constraints, primary key, foreign key, also in the upcoming. Just leave it all those things and just concentrate about this creation of the table name here. So length we have to provide here 20 and then city where care of. So this is how actually here I mentioned so in a query format we have to provide these kind of lines, actually create table, and the elaboration of the table we have to provide in the command. But here we can just simply provide the data, the details, to define the details here. If we define that, then automatically the SQL preview we can get it the syntax of whatever we are doing here, right? Create table, and we are just creating serial number and name city, right? If we put save, then table created successfully. Do you want create more tables? No, means we'll just leave it about it. So we have created the table, right? So table level operation here created the table. So next one is alter this. Alter, we are going to add one, state column, and we are just reducing here the length can be 15. So again, if we come to preview, then it is alter table, change, add column. We have changed, we have modified the data type length, and we have added column, and whatever we can do it here, the preview will show whatever the command actually captured, right? If you put save, then okay, it is altered successfully. Then the show tables, already we have seen it in the GUI tool. And rename table, once we can just created the table, we can just rename it as well, employee. So this is employee. So rename table also. And truncate table in a sense is nothing but, suppose we have created the table, how we are going to insert in a sense like so table data, there is nothing. We can simply simply we can create insert the data. Actually, I'll show you. These are the channel and example. Right. So it is automatically commit. So table data is now we can, if you put so select star from, this is the select command, actually select star from that. So here we want to truncate the table in a sense, nothing but we can just more table operation and truncate the table. It is you will lose all the data without any condition. It will all the data. The table contains 1,000 records, 10 lakhs records, or crore records, whatever it may be. It won't consider the truncate command. If you put this, then that's it. And now if you open, then there is. So the structure remain, it is deleting all those records. This is what the truncate actually. So such a way, drop table is nothing but we can just more tables and drop the table from the delete. If you put, then the table itself going to drop. So likewise, we can copy the table and add, delete the column. We have seen like so rename the column, alter. So whatever there will be a sum of table operations available. And then next one is like this is what create we have seen, right? Create the table and alter the table and truncate the table, and then drop the table. So whatever the operation, table operation, we can easily do it in the GUI, graphical user interface, right? So the next part is like SQL constraints. So constraints is nothing but a condition, a rule. So that is what here mentioned. Constraint in MySQL is used to specify the rule that allow or restrict. So this is what the constraint mainly. Okay. So why we are using constraint is to ensure the data accuracy and integrity based on our conditions. We are just putting constraints to the MySQL, right? So there will be a two type of constraints. One is the column level constraints and table level constraints. So first of all you know, but still I just show. This is each one is a databases. Already you know that. Okay, inside the databases there will be a collections of table, right? So inside the table there will be a columns and rows. In the column is having attribute of the data, and row is really a data, right? So here, two level of constraint here we are just mentioning, column level and table level. Whole table level we can just put the rule, right? The second thing is like column level as well. We can we are putting the constraint in a column level constraint only, right? So here, so commonly used MySQL constraint is like first one is not null constraint. Okay, this is ensure that column cannot have the null value. So null is different, empty is different. So in RDBMS database based databases, null is that is also kind of value null. Simply we can say nil, there is nothing. But empty is different. The column having empty is different. The column null is different. I'll show you in the practical session. And then unique key constraint, ensure that all the value in the columns are different. For example, if we take this column, this customer number column, there shouldn't be a duplicate key. 496 is already placed. Again, one more 496 is not allowed. That is called unique key constraint, right? So primary key constraint, this is the very important, the combination of not null and unique is the combination of both point number 1 and 2. So primary key is a key. It is really, we can say like parental key. Okay. And uniquely identify in the each table, it won't allow null value. Okay, right. So next one is a foreign key. So prevent action that would destroy like between the two tables, like two tables in a sense. For example, parent child. I'll explain now. So first of all, here we will just create one table is there. Okay, fine. So null is different. I said now, and null is empty. This is the empty actually. Null still there is nothing. It is a nil value only, but still in database representation, null value is placed here. Okay. Okay. So if we mentioned alter table, see here now you can be just get the point. So PK is nothing but primary key, right? So not null, it is nullable or not nullable. For example, serial number is not null. Okay, it shouldn't be null value, right? So if we put second one, like in which selection. See here, field serial number doesn't have a default value. Also, it won't allow because here we mentioned the serial number column shouldn't be a null. Okay. Suppose, for example, the second thing, name also I'll just give not null and save. So here 2 and it will get saved. Now I'll provide without name city alone, MDU and TN. Again, it is doesn't have a default. So now not null constraint is nothing but the column shouldn't be a I know a null values. Instead of that, how we can take it forward in a sense, whatever it may be, the serial number not null. But if we are not providing, then we can choose auto increment to get the previous row. It is adding sum of +1. We put auto increment. Then now, if we are not, sorry. Okay. Right. So now I will not be provide for serial number. Now it is taking the auto increment. So that is why we are here selecting the auto increment field to the serial number. So automatically it will, we no need to provide the things. Automatically it is the same way. If we put for not null, we are mentioning not null constraint to the column name. Okay. For example, if we are not providing, then automatically default NA will just take it. Then we just default value. If we provide, then now so auto increment and automatically it will come NA. If you are not giving a name, providing a name also, nothing issue. That's it. So whatever it's come, the next row will be coming by NA itself. Due to we are just mentioning the default value here, right? Okay, fine. I'm going to just create one more table like employee and like EMP1. Okay, fine. Here serial number and the data type, length, primary key, and auto increment. The second thing is like for employee name. Here, I'll just, I'll just, okay. See, in the parent table, in the employee is a parent table, and the employee one is a child table. In the parent table, that will be a primary key. Okay, primary key for serial number. So this is primary key is like nothing but a parental key. We are relating here with the parental key. We are just relating to this table. We are going to just providing a name. Consider foreign key. We are just creating the foreign key here. EMP ID referencing column EMP ID. Okay. referenced table is like employee of the serial number. Cascade restrict, I'll put, and update also restrict. We can't. So if we create a foreign key with the parental key of this table, the concept is now, whatever the employee serial number. Okay. So whatever the employee serial number here mentioned, these serial number only placed here. Here in a sense, like okay. Now, so if you are going to alter the table, then auto increment. If I put 1 in a sense, it will get saved, right? If I put 10 in a sense, it will not save because cannot add or update child row. Directly, we can't, insert the row which will not in the parental table. So this is called the foreign key constraint fail here. Okay. So instead of that, if I put 5, then it will get because the parent table having the ID, of employee. Right. So serial number having 1 to 5, we can just provide it. Rest of the thing we can't. Otherwise, here we need to add. So likewise, directly we can't, delete from the parental. So it is referencing the child row, right? So that is the reason this won't allow because now I'm just, delete from employee where serial number. So it is, cannot delete or update the parent row. Foreign key constraint fail because all the definitions here given. So we can't delete it without. So this is called the relationship between the each table. So for that, first we need to, delete the referenced column here, values. And then now if we delete in a sense, it will query executed one success. So we can. So this is how the relation model is working here. All right. So any key for primary key, foreign key, and default also we have seen, and index is concept is nothing but we can create an index to retrieve the data as much as possible. So this is the index by default. If there is a primary key or if there is a foreign key, then automatically the index will be created. Indexing concept is, very big one that is separate topic. It is the primary role of index is, retrieve the data from the databases very quickly and fastly, right? So this is the select statement. The select statement in MySQL is used to fetch the data from one or more tables. Likewise, we are just seeing now. This is the command to select, retrieve the data basically. And then classes. MySQL classes is like, MySQL where and distinct from, order by, group by, having. These are and all MySQL classes actually. Excuse me, guys. 1 minute. I'll just put my charger. So these are all MySQL classes, right? So MySQL var class is used with the select, insert, update, and delete classes to filter the result actually. Basically, we can apply the condition in this class, right? For example, where condition, the syntax is nothing but where and provide the condition. So far we are, we are just taking the example of here. Select the star from employee, where the condition is column name is equal to name. Name should be a Vignesh. Right? So this is what we are using a where condition actually. We can the condition we can just take a multiple criteria we can just provide in the where conditions, right? So suppose Vignesh name equal and city equal Madurai, then there is no record. So that is the reason we can just or so we can add multiple conditions here. Then again, it simply this go to the database name equal to Vignesh, then fetch the data, and this is also one of the condition. City should be a Madurai, then there is no record, and the next condition is or city may be a Chennai. Then for that it is result will be coming here. All right. So this is what the classes of MySQL working here. So distinct again, the distinct class where we can give it in a sense like it is used to remove the duplicate record from the table, right? For example, it is basically a unique record. It is the keyword distinct will be providing a unique record. For example, distinct expression, whatever the expression we are going to give from and the table and the where conditions. For examples, okay, distinct city from employees. Here, go to classic model and I'll provide here. So basically, these many records from the employees database, employee tables. Okay, now we are just providing a city base here. No city, I think. Okay, fine. We can choose rest of that job title. Okay, fine. So here select star is providing all the record from the table, and job title in a sense like a lot of duplicate records. It is only providing the unique records, right? So whatever the job title in a distinct ways like a president and vice president, marketing. So these are all the unique values, and this is why use the distinct. The next one is order by. Actually, order by is nothing but ordered in a sort of some sorting of order like ascending or descending. So we are getting a result here, right? We are getting a result as whatever we are providing the data, the same result we are just retrieving. But here we order by is if we put order by any column, we can just put it in the order by the based on that column, the result will be ordered automatically. So, like for example, employees, this is the keyword order by, like we can order by the job title or last name, first name, office code. Okay, office code in a sense, it will providing the default manner order wise it is giving. So by default, if we are not mentioning by default it is giving a ascending order, or else if we want to know, if we want to descending order wise, we want to get then DESC. If we put the descending, then it will gives the descending order wise. So this is what play the key role of order by. Then group by concept here. So group by class is used to collect the data from multiple record and group the result, okay, by one or more column. Like in generally we are using this group by command in select statement, and I can also use some aggregate functions. We are just seeing it in upcoming slides. What is the functions, aggregate functions and all. So this is how the group by, generally grouping the records result based on some column reference. For example, here just select job title, count of the job title, and so this is how, like president, how many counts, and group by is grouping the result. So based on the aggregate function, count base. So one president and one vice president, and sales rep is 17. So this is how we are just grouping the result of the query. Then insert. Insert is, as we know, very easy manner. We are just do it in the GUI, graphical user interface. But still, there should be some syntax we have to follow in the application wise, like application code. In the front end, we are just providing like insert into the table name, field 1 and 2. This is the column name, column 2, and as well as the value for column 1, value for column 2. Such a way we are just, this is the syntax. So example, insert into the people is the table, and ID, name, occupation, age is the column name. And for that column, 101, Peter, engineer, 32 is the data for that column. So this is how we are just insert like show you. So simply we are here add so this is how here simply we can just inserting it. Instead of that, if we simply we are doing, but in the background of the application, it is focusing this only. Like if we put, when we put inserting the data and just click it and save it in the table, then in the background it is converted as a query. Insert into that table, whatever the column name and whatever the value of that column. So this is how the insert statement will be working. And then SQL update. So likewise here, if we Bala is Bala Chandar. If we update, then moment the save, it is converted as a query. Update table name, set which column name, and the new value column 2 and new value 2 where based on that where condition we can just put it in that, right? For example, update employee, set city is Chennai, and before that it was maybe Madurai or Coimbatore, whatever it may be. But now update the employee, the city, the current employee city. I am updating based on the condition, where condition, employee ID E123. For that employee ID E123, the city will be changed as update as Chennai. So this is how the update statement is working. So likewise, the delete. If we delete directly, then it is converting delete from table name. This is how the syntax converting when we the moment clicking the delete. And then now the SQL operators are available. Like operators needs advanced operation on the table, and it's so far we are just discussing about the very basic commands and very So if we want to do the advanced operation on the table and its data, then we have to use some operators. Like the operator is mainly used for the following things. Like we can search the data with this operator, we can sorting the data, we can filtering the data. So this is how the main functionality the operator will do. Okay, so the type of operator here, the major one is like arithmetic operators, logical operator, comparison operator, and compound operator. So, for example, in the arithmetic operator is nothing but arithmetic operator can be used in the basically the select and where and order by classes. Here only we can use the arithmetic operator in the sense like add, subtract, multiply, divide, modulo function. So this is what the simple thing is like. This is kind of arithmetic. So 20 plus 50, and well, likewise the basic operators. This is the arithmetic operators. We can use it in the real-time query, right? So next one is the logical operator. This is actually very powerful operators that using in anywhere in the program. If you take, then definitely they are mentioning these operator and any between exit one. Each and everyone is having their own unique functionality. Like and already we here we mention and or these are all and is like nothing but if all the condition satisfied, then it is true. Okay, otherwise it is getting fail. For example, select star from the customer where city equal to London and country equal to UK. If we mentioned country equal to US, then definitely it won't give the result. Anyways, query will be running, but result we are not expecting. Result will not providing. Okay, right. So between operator. So and between is very important. True if the operation is within the range of comparison, like product where the price between 50 and 60. So this is how the value of the column, whatever 50 between the 50 and 60, the it is result will we are getting. Otherwise, we are not getting the result, right? So likewise, in operator, in is like nothing but if true if the operation is equal to one of the list of the expression. Example, select store from the customer where city in Paris or London, whatever it may be. But if we put this command and we are expecting from somewhere around city like Chennai, then it won't give the result. So this is what the in operator is doing. And like is nothing but like similarity. So based on the similarity, like so select star from the customer where city like start with yes. So whatever the city start with yes, and then this percentage symbol, whatever it may be, any value, but start with yes. We can, if it is whatever the record start with yes, it is providing in the like operator. Likewise, if I put just a minute, I'll show you. Fine. So here I'll put where email like. So LBO put means like start with LBO, all the emails will be coming here. So to suppose if I want ending with or So end with whatever in the front phrase and end with .in, then it will just provide whatever the in, right? So likewise, in middle of the function, if we want to capture anything in a sense, front and back. For that, anything in the front and back, but in between phy at these characters, if anything in the email, then we can just get it in the like command. So this is how the like command is working. And not is like a display record if the condition is not true. So not like the same way, like command is front and back, whatever anything the value, and the middle of the phrase it is phy at. Suppose if we mention not like not, then we are just in the front and back side anything. So out of this result, everything will be showing here. So based on the condition, we are just providing the result. Or also like that, some also some sort of a result is passed here, then the value will be coming together, right? So then comparison operator, like equal to, the value equal to, for example, this and all, quickly can just, very quickly we can just learning equal to select star from product where the price equal to 18. So now the condition is whatever the price is 18, that output will be given here. So greater than value. So greater than 30 price, if there is a price greater than 30, then whatever the value will come. So likewise, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, not equal to 18. So rest of 18 records will provide. So whatever in the price column, 18 will not be show. Rest of the 18, everything will show in here. So this is what the comparison operator, right? So now here, MySQL data types. So why the data types? Basically, already we have using here when we create the tables. Here data type we are mentioning. Why it is means, so SQL, the structure query language, should understand what type of data is expecting inside of each column. Like for example, for each and every column, attribute of this column, the data, what sort of the data type and its type we have to just provide here. Then only it is retrieving the data, right? Name and yes, each column in the table is required to have a name and the data type. SQL developer must decide what type of data that will be stored inside the each column. So there will be some criteria. If we mention the character, then based on that size will be occupied. If we mention the integer, then based on that integer digit will just occupy the space. So likewise, there are commonly string data type available, numeric data type, and date and time data type, and JSON data types available in the MySQL. So here, for example, string data type in a sense like all the string based, like variable based, like A to Z, we can just mention like kind of characters we can use it here. And for example, character, varchar, binary, text, and blob, medium text. So each having their own unique characteristics. Like for example, if we mention the data type as character, then we can place the value of the column only 0 to 255. If we put 256, then it won't allow, right? So likewise, the character. So if we mention the varchar, we can just 0 to 65,535. If we put 70,000, then it won't allow. So this much of size only we can it is allowable And likewise, the text is their maximum length, and the value storage size will be 65,535 bytes. The size of the column, if it goes 70,000 bytes, then it won't store it. First of all, we can't insert into the table, right? Enum value kind of thing, like enum value, if we represent one values, other suppose for example, enum value 1 and 2, if we represent, we can't insert 3 or 4 something. So whatever the representation here giving, the same value only we can provide it in the front end or insert when we are inserting the database. So likewise, the numeric data type is there, and bit size, blob, small int. So each one is having here to the unique characteristics. Signed range is from 32,768 to 32,767. So the range, if it is different, that it won't insert, right? Double size and decimal, in a sense, like floating point number, we can just insert to the table of the column, right? Likewise, the date and time. Whatever the date we are inserting now, based on this data type only, we can just insert into the table, right? Such a way, date, if we mention, then we can just insert like this kind of values. Year, y, and month, dd, like this format. Date and time, in a sense, along with this format, we can just hover minute, second, we can insert into that. So likewise, time and year. So based on that. So finally, based on our requirement of of the data insertion, we need to choose the correct data type. Otherwise, it will if we mention, so each one of the data type will vary in the occupying the space, occupying the data space, occupying the storage. So unnecessarily, if we just mention the data type, then definitely we are just falling into the storage level issues or slowness, application performance level issues we are facing, right? So this is what the data type. And so next, from here, joins are placing here, like MySQL joins. So joins are used with the SQL select statement, and it is used to retrieve the data from multiple table, right? We can join. So it's basically the main concept for RDBMS is, it is the join concept. Actually, we can join the table based on some relation, based on some conditions, right? So there are three types. Majorly they are using three types of joins: MySQL inner join, or we can call it as join, simply join, and left outer join, we can call it as left join, and right outer join, and we call it as a right join. So apart from this, we have self join is there, and then cross join is there. So another three or more, but majorly the DBAs and all the developers are using these three type of joins, right? So in the inner join, in the picture representation itself, we can understand that whatever the commonly used in the table 1 and 2, that is called, if we provide the result of inner join is like table 1 and 2 common values, right? So left join is all the left side table hold the records and only matching the right side table. This is called the left join. And the right join is completely opposite of left join, like all the values from the right side table and matched left side table is providing the result, right? So here we are just little bit more. So inner join is used to return all the rows from multiple table where the join condition is satisfied. This is mostly common type of the join, right? So select column from the table 1, inner join of table 2 on the conditions. For example, officer name and officer address, student course name. So officers is the table name, and this is officer name is the column name. Likewise here too, and the student is the table name and course name is the column name. From officer table and join student table on some condition. Condition in a sense like officer table, officer ID and student ID, both are all, what are all the IDs are equal to the both the table, then it will provide the result, right? We will just so I'll explain it because so I have prepared previously because I can't type all the queries now. So this is like so here we are joining two tables, customer table, employee table, where the commonly condition is customer table sales rep employee number is equivalent to employee data table employee number is equal to this. So both are all, what are all the records commonly matching here the both the table, it will give the result. So now it will give the commonly it is 100 rows for common rows for both the table. So this is how, this is like join we can mention or inner join we can mention. Both are giving a same result only, right? So, and then this is like for left join first. So left side table in a sense like see. So left outer join or we can say left join, whatever, the same record only. So customer is the left table and a right side table is like employees. Now basically the left join is getting all the record from the left side. It won't consider about the right side table. It is all the record from the left side table, and just what are all the matching record with right to left, those record will be populated here. So if we put then 122, so 122 in a sense like in a customer, maybe the customer table record is like 120. Yes, so that is what it won't consider about the left side table, all the record from the left side table, and just matching cases of the right side table, it just compare and give the result to us. So likewise right side table also. Okay, now how come it is work is like it is now 100% focusing about this table, employee table, employees table. It is just all the record will showing here and matched record of left side, whatever the records is showing those records only, right? So 100 records it is showing the matches here. So this is how the left join, right join and inner join is working. And left outer join and right outer join. So the pictorial representation itself, we at least could able to understand. So inner join is both the table, what are all the common value, it is giving the inner it is the result of inner join. And left outer join is whole left side table and matched right side table, it is called the left outer join. And right outer join is a whole right side table and matched case of left table. So the pictorial representation, it says like very easier to understanding. And then the here itself, you are thinking that like I have mentioned here C dot E dot. What is it called? Means so we can call it as aliases, right? Alias is often used to make a column name or more readable. See, I really have to give like this customer number and then employee number. Instead of that, I can just represent all one even a single character I can represent, and then finally wherever I'm just mentioning the table at the time as C. So here customer as C. Now the SQL just taking as like C means it is this is also another side we can this is called the temporary variable. Within the query only it is running. When the query coming to run, so at the time it is temporarily getting customer as a C represent in a sense like wherever the customer table runs, it is pointed to C within this query only. Okay, once the query has completed, then just temporary has been cleared, and whatever the next representation comes, it is changing automatically. So this is how the aliases only exist for the duration of that query. As I said, like existing for the duration of the query. Once the query has completed and returned the rows, then it is destroyed automatically. The alias is created with as keyword. So as is a keyword. So here mention column name, alias name. So whatever here like customer ID as ID and customer name as customer. So whatever for column name we can use alias name. For table level we can use alias name. The same concept only, right? So this is how the alias is. This is very smaller thing, but it is very useful to when we just prepare a larger amount of query. It is very useful to us. So the next one is control flow function. So control flow function in most of the place, like most of the areas, stored procedures, when comparing with the query, most of the places in stored procedure only we are using this control flow. But anyways, conceptual wise, you just try to understand this. So control flow function evaluate the conditions specified on it. Okay, output generated by can be true or false or static value or column expression, right? So this control flow we can just use it in the select or where order by or group by classes, right? So most of the common function is if null function, null function, case expression, right? So if function is like basically if function is one of the part of SQL control function, which is return a value based on the given condition. Whatever the condition we are giving, based on that condition, it is providing the result or response, right? So syntax is like if expression 1, 2, or 3. This is like simple if conditions. For example, it is select if 200 greater than 350. If it is 200 is if the condition is true, then first case will be provided. If it is condition is false, then second case will be here showing. See, so here we can as if result, right? So for this here alias we have fixed for this whole, this is the condition. The column name automatically comes like if greater than, the whole query itself coming under the column name. So for that we can avoid, this is how the alias is working. If result, in a sense, we can just if result. So obviously the condition 350 is greater of or 200. That is the reason it is giving the result. So this is how the if condition, simple if, this is called a simple if. And the if null condition in a sense like accept two expression. If the first expression is not null, then return the first argument. This is called the argument. I'll just explain it. If return the first agreement, if the first expression is null, then it is the second. For example, if null 0, 5. So here what specify, if the first expression is not null, then argument, the first argument will be providing. I'll see. If null, in a sense, the first, it will check the first representation is if not null, then the first value will come. Suppose the same thing, it is, there is no null value, so that is the reason it is printing the first value. Suppose if we specify null here, then it will just skip the null, and second value it is getting the pointed out. This is how the if null is working. And then null if so the basically the control flow function very widely used in the stored procedure. That is why the very generic select concept I will just explaining. Because if you use nothing, very big amount of queries, lines of queries we have to type it. So instead of that, only that, just conceptual wise, you just try to understand this. So null if function is accept to expression, the same kind of thing. Like first expression is equal to second expression, then it will return the null. Otherwise, it will return the first expression. For example, so first and second argument is same, then null. Suppose if I put first and second is differ, then it will provide a first argument. So this is how, this is it is completely depends on our requirement only. We have to build the query, right? So if statement kind wise, so this is completely stored program or procedure implemented to the basic construction. Okay, so here it is written one of three values: true, false, or null. Okay, we can use three ways: if then else, and if then else if else class, and finally we can terminate. So this is completely used in the stored procedure. So little bit time to take elaborately to taken this, like. So finally the case expression, case in a sense like a switch case of kind, like in the application program we are just call it as a switch case. Here SQL language we are just mentioning the case expression. For example, case value, when compare value, then result when a compare value. So likewise the example, at least you just try to understand this. Select case 1, when 1, then we can print as 1, 2, then 2, else more n. If we see case is 1, then it will just print 1. Otherwise it will when case is 2, then print 2, else more end. So this is how the case is. Whatever the compare value, based on that compare value we can set the result. So this is how the case expression actually. And then finally there will be SQL user management is there. So all those things we can just finally we have to manage as a user management. See the control point here, like whoever access the database, then there is no control point. So for that, control pointing is here too. For that only I am saying that, like here new connection and localhost. Here I mentioned the password. If I not mention password, then access denied, or if I put something, then it will just access denied. So this is how we are just controlling the user authentication. Via user authentication we are just controlling as a user, right? The MySQL create user statement allow you to create new user, separate users, each one who are all going to work with databases. They are having their own credential, their own authentications. Okay, fine. It is provide authentication, SSL, TLS, whatever. This is role and password management properties for the new account. If you want create user, it is required to have a global privilege like a DBA, database administrator account we have, then only we can create a user management. So also in the user management, the grant privilege. So whoever wants, what are all the access for that, all privilege, in a sense it permit all the privilege to the user account. So only create database access and only drop database access, only delete row access, insert. Such a way we can just we have to categorize the privilege to the user management. Accordingly, we just create and maintain the same. So this is how the basic concept of the MySQL. If we have any clarification, please let me know so that I'll just clarify.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Yeah, session was very interesting. Sir, I think there are some more chats to be like Q&A, which are required. Yeah, we can take that questions.
Yeah, fine. So this is Satish Gupta, like how to describe the size of the, what is the considered as big or small. It's depending on the size, like, storage, suppose it's completely depend upon the company's requirement. Like, how can I say, like, my database, I'm using the enterprise version and I am having, like 3 TB, 4 TB. So at that time, for me, 100 GB is very, very low only. So at the time, I'm not saying that, because for the 3 TB of storage, 100 GB is very less. So it's come such a way. If I'm having only the 500 GB, out of 500 GB, the database size is like 300 GB, and I'm using only the community edition. So at that time, it is a very big. So this is the way we are considering actually the size of the databases. So is it in terms of GB, in terms of number of rows? So basically it is interlinked. If the number of rows and columns increasing, then the database size of the volume is getting increased. So we are not saying, so finally we just represent a GB or a TB only. So this is how they are just we are mentioning. So if it is a rows and columns increasing, then automatically the size of the database will get increased. Right. So can we do ETL activities with the help of MySQL for getting the data from ERP and clean it and feed it other downstream application? Okay. So we can do the ETL activity with the help of MySQL. It is like, how can I say, like, your developer can do basically the ETL kind of activity with the MySQL. It is possible, no problem. And then is null is space? Yeah, of course. Null is occupying the space. But it is very very smaller size it is. Anyways, whatever it is, if it is empty, then it won't occupying the space. Otherwise, even though if it is null, smaller amount of space it is utilizing. Otherwise, it can't. Right. So can you please explain what does the schema means? Also, please explain whether the same column name can be created under the same schema. So here a schema is nothing but schema is a database here mentioned. We are right. So schema is nothing but database. In MySQL wise, schema is classic model is a kind of schema, and sys is a schema, world is a separate schema. So second thing is like also explain the same column name can be created under the same schema. So here the thing is like database, under the database we are having, we are creating the multiple tables. So here same column name cannot be created in the same table. Rest of that we can create table serial number. For example, serial number we can create in the table 1, table 2, table 3. It's not depends upon the schema, which means here mentioned as a database only at table level, because table level only we are just maintaining the rows and columns. So avoiding the duplicates and maintaining the structure, we can't create same column name in the table. And Amit again, sir, can you please provide this nicely prepared PPT over registered mail? This is really difficult to understand. 55 technical pages in just, yeah, of course, I'll understand this question. And yeah, sure, I'll just, you can get touch with Deepika for the same, right?
Sure, we'll share.
Yeah.
Okay, sir, I think the first 2 questions also we can cover, I think of one is relating to DR server, how to set up 637. Satish Gupta had asked, kindly put some light on DR drill for server. I think this you have answered. No.
Yeah. No, not yet, I think.
Yeah. So some redundancy server where we can conduct DR drill, how for database we can set up is asking.
Yeah.
And one more question is kindly cover migration audit. Basically, how to do migration and
Okay, fine. So basically the DR drill activity is a disaster recovery. We can say we are covering in the BCP plan as well. So one set of servers, application server and DB server is running in a one environment. Like let's say example of Singapore environment, there will be a data center, and there will be a application server, database server. So for this, it is running in such a time. Suppose if the database goes down, at the time we have to plan for the DR, like a disaster recovery. So for that we have to choose other location to replicate the data in the database. Like Singapore is the primary location, then we can just put the India location, maybe the secondary server, and the same database server and application server we have to place in both the location, and just we have to create the replication between the app to app server and DB to DB server, so that the primary DB is Singapore server. Whenever the record inserting into the Singapore server, then immediately those record via the replication configuration, it is storing in the Indian server location. If some sort of time it goes down, in a sense, there will be a kind of types available, like automatically it is switch over, and manually we have to find and switch over concept. So with the help of database replication, we can do it for the DR drill activity. Is nothing but whatever the data is getting inserted in the primary server, immediately it will just replicate to the secondary server. So whenever the primary server goes down, then automatically the request goes to the secondary server, so that at that time the secondary server act as a primary server. Then we have to fix the primary server and just make it as a primary or a secondary, whatever. It's completely our requirement. So also the same concept applicable in the cloud itself. Cloud is more easier than bare metal server. Actually, we are maintaining the our own bare metal server on-prem server. Cloud is more easier. So the cloud frankly, we speak, like now the entire database itself coming under the service, single service. So it is more and more easier. So you couldn't understand that where is the request going. So that kind of technologies now we are having. So it is very, very possible. We have to just, set up the replication kind of thing. That is what.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Sir, Satish this side.
Yeah.
So I have, sir, 3 questions you can answer as per your convenience. So
Yeah.
first is, can you throw light on the data migration audit? The data migrated from the one Oracle database is common in both the applications. One. Second is, sir, DR drill has been performed. So as a auditor, how you can audit that DR drill has been completed? How we can audit that DR drill based on the logs and screenshots, or some other methodology would be there?
This is like, based on the policy we can. So for example, in my company, I'm having the policy to, I need to conduct the DR drill at least twice in a year. So this is what I have mentioned in my policies, in our company policies. So in our company BCP policy. So based on that, for that, no, we have to just take evidence whenever we are doing the DR drill activities. For that activities, I have to prepare the evidences in our company format. So from the beginning, like for the communication mail, we can check it from the scrap activity start for that evidence, and screenshots we can just take it as only as an auditor. We can just take it as a evidences perspective only. So not in the live time you are doing. That is not required. If there is a screenshot and the mail communication and the ticket reference is there, then we can. So this is what we are just,
And one point on DR drill, what from an audit perspective I can add is,
yes,
we can check which all applications are covered in the DR. Like for example, the company may have 5 or 6 applications or 10 applications, let's say. The real-time DR or application will be for only the critical applications. So we can check the drill calendar also and see the adequacy of failover time. Like there may be, like, they in the policy they might have mentioned, let's say RPO of 1 hour and RTO of 2 hours. How much time, when the DR drill has started, when it has ended, how it is documented, whether it is approved, whether it is placed before the IS. Maybe some.
Hello, voice is not coming.
You are able to hear me?
Now it is audible. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. I was mentioning the RPO, RTO, like recovery point time and recovery point objective, recovery time objective from the policy, and which all applications are covered in the DR drill. Because let's say insurance company or bank may have 100 critical applications. So they may have a DR drill calendar where they are covering few applications at a time for testing. So we have to see how they are documenting it, when is the start time, when is the end time. So those are also some critical control points to be verified. So
the question is, madam, say they are saying cutoff timing, say example 12 noon. So and now it is a very reputed company, Nucleus, right? So it is there. We are not able to see it live. Now they are confirming it on mail. So how to cross confirm one thing? So because anyway, as to regulator, we have to give the assurance that it has been performed. One thing. Second thing is that the tangible benefit should be also there. One thing. Second thing is, madam, this is a failover drill completed. How about that fail back drill?
So that is separate, sir. That is not DR drill. That is recovery testing.
Recovery testing.
Recovery testing will generally not happen from the DR side. So DR is like real-time activity. So database will be like, they will have all the setup already in the disaster location. It's only like they are upping that system from a live system. But recovery drill is not from this. Recovery drill is from the backup. So they will restore the data from the backup and they will test whether the backup is restoring. So if they are having tape backup, cloud backup, so that is a separate activity and a separate calendar for testing, sir. So there we have to check whether they are maintaining incremental backup. Then when was the last full backup, whether all incremental backups were restored, whether the full application was able to be restored from that backups taken. So that procedure will be little different. From an entity perspective, both they have to have actually. Recovery testing and DRD.
So if they are saying it is 12 noon, so what is the approach that and say RTO is half an hour? So data up to 11:30 has been there. So for that we should have a parallel record, no? At least.
Yeah, we should verify the parallel record. Generally, sir, these are like clocked and log reports are actually attached with the report. So as an auditor, you can rely on the evidence provided because it is documented activity and placed before the respective risk committee or information security committee. Right. So we can rely on that. But further, there was some incident during the year because of which you want to test. Then you can ask them to schedule a live drill when you are there. So it need not be 12 a.m. or 1 a.m. and all. It can be during the day where, let's say, you directly go and switch off on server. How they are restoring, you can see the time, RTO time. So that also you can ask them to do. It is not a thing that we cannot ask and all. We can surely ask. But prima facie, when there is no incident during the year, we can take at face value. But if there was an incident, though we are documenting everything that there is DR drill, there is recovery testing, but there was an incident where one day also company couldn't, after one day also company couldn't restore the systems back.
Right.
24 hours failover time was there. Then these are all like red flags. Then you can ask for real-time testing before the auditor.
Madam, is testing is mandatory because they are providing that SOC report that CPA certified. So because they are saying that all cloud users are relying on this.
No, sir. That is totally different. So that SOC report is only for controls at the data center. Right. So applications are managed by the company. So as Vignesh sir was mentioning, they are taken data center from Singapore, but the applications in the data center are managed by their team. So recovery testing should be done by them. DR drill should be done by the company. SOC certificate is only for the infrastructure or the platform, depending on what the company has subscribed to.
Got it. Thank you. Right.
Yes. And in terms of your data migration question also, we can do a audit procedure itself, sir. Like for example, we can extract data from the table, like the queries he showed, no? Same like that, we can use count function, sum function, where we are summarizing the data and totaling, having some few control totals, checking the table mapping. So which fields are moved to what fields. So that activity we can also perform in a data migration audit. So we have to request the client to give the data in the test environment or the staging environment, whichever the company is having. Then we have to do a table mapping. Table mapping, the DBA should have done at the time of migration itself. Which table should go to which table and which field in this table should go to which field in the new table. So based on the table mapping, we can re-perform the audit procedure in the test environment and then give the migration audit report. The other way around is we can rely on whatever reviews they have done, sign-offs they have done, policy they have done, migration plan they have done. But it is strongly suggested we do at least critical fields re-performance testing.
So they, for example, if they are providing us data on CSV, because we don't have a technical to fetch the data directly from the database, right? And then we upload that data in IIA and the sophisticated software. So are you seeing any flaw in this process, madam?
Sir, actually, this means we'll not know if they have changed anything in the CSV. So again, we have to take at least any report from the front end of the application and check. Some roll forward testing should be done. Like, let's say this data is as on particular cutoff date, but let's say today is 10 days after that. We need to do roll forward testing, take a report from the ERP and check whether the balances are correctly tallying. At least on sample cases, there may be thousands of tables, but at least for sample cases, we need to do. Yes.
Got it.
Yeah. Any other question from anyone else? I can unmute if you raise your hand.
Just one more. How to describe the size of the database? Is it right to describe it in GB, 30 GB, 40 GB, or in the technical terms, the number of rows and columns?
Vignesh sir, can you take this question?
Yeah, sure. So size of the database at the end of the day, we are just mentioned in the GB only, like GB, MB, TB, whatever it may be. We can't say like, the size of the rows. We have a 10 lakhs row. It's basically depends upon the data inserted into the table only. Okay. For example, if I store, only the, string values to the table up to the 10 lakhs record is equivalent to, if I put any storing the blob or text file and very weightage file, if I put it into the JSON file kind of file, if I storing it in 1000 row, the equivalent. So at the time we can't say it here only 1000 records. So size of the table will be very lesser, and that manner we can't say it. At the end of the time we can just represent the size of the database in a GB or MB or TB only.
Okay, right. Thank you.
Right.
Yes, sir. So I think we have answered all the questions. Anything else, anyone? Otherwise, we can call it a day. We can close. Yes. So thank you everyone for staying till the end and having such a interactive session today. Thank you, Vignesh sir, for taking time out. I know your schedules were very hectic. Still, you managed to find time for us and share your knowledge. So it is very nice actually to have someone from the IT team than the audit team to have the session presented. So we can understand from the other perspective what is actually done. So that's very nice session. Thanks for joining Institute of Internal Auditors, and everyone else. Thank you very much for staying in. So with this note, I'll end this webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you, team. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks.